Like all great pieces of clothing, the Aviator and its underappreciated cousin the Navigator both stem from the military and were therefore created out of necessity, with the primary function of improving a pilot's vision at high altitudes. The combination of a teardrop lens with a tinted glass was quickly embraced by non-serving members of society. Versatile and consistently cool, Ben St. George writes that its place in the Auer pantheon is built on the genius of its design. If ever frame could be described as iconic, it's the Aviator, worn by everyone from General MacArthur to George Michael to Debbie Harry, and seen on screen in so many famous iterations. A few highlights are Tom Cruise in Top Gun, Al Pacino in Scarface, Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, Chow Yun-fat in A Better Tomorrow, Robert Redford in 3 Days of the Condor, Christopher Walken in A View to a Kill. In all of these movies, one can see not only their enduring cool but their remarkable versatility, too. The Aviator's origins, and some of its most famous cinematic outings, may be rooted in the military, but its place in the Auer pantheon is built on the genius of its design. The Aviator shape holds a special place in the history of sunglasses. They are the first truly mass-produced frame shape, essentially responsible for the creation of the sunglasses industry as a whole, but in many ways, they are also the tool watch of the sunglass world, a style that was developed first and foremost as a piece of functional kit. In the early 20th century, pilots began pushing the boundaries of what was possible with aircraft. As they began to exceed heights of well over 30,000 feet, they had to deal with not only the fundamental risks of early aviation but also the freezing cold. Without the benefit of sealed or pressurized cockpits, pilots had to rely on insulated and fur-lined clothing in order to keep warm, and even fur-lined goggles for their eyes. Unfortunately, these also had a tendency to fog up, which combined with the sun's piercing glare at high altitude could make vision next to impossible. This was exactly what happened to U.S. Air Force test pilot Shorty Schroeder in 1920, flying at 33,000 feet in an open cockpit biplane. His goggles fogged up, and with the sun in his eyes, he found himself totally blind. Upon removing his goggles, however, his eyes quite literally froze over due to the air temperature, leaving him once again barely able to see, at risk of permanently losing his eyes and probably his life. Miraculously, he managed to land the aircraft. Fellow aviator and friend, John McCready, pulled him from the cockpit, and the sight of Schroeder's swollen shut eyes made him realize a more specialized solution was required for this problem. The Aviator's pervasive adoption has a lot to do with that signature teardrop lens shape. The broad at the top, narrow at the bottom silhouette was designed, by necessity, to expressly follow the lines of the face, whether they are a classic metal frame or a thicker frame pair. Like De Niro's powerfully 7-inch shades in Casino, the effect is the same by following the shape of the face as a whole. They have a tendency to flatter. This is also true of the Navigator, the Aviator's shorter, more rectangular and frankly underappreciated cousin. The Navigator was a later addition, brought about by the advent of jet aircraft. Its original model, the HGU-4P, was developed in 1959 to be able to sit more comfortably under a flight helmet whilst offering enough clearance for pilots' oxygen mask to be worn. The Navigator offers a subtler, slightly more refined take on the classic shape, softening the lines without losing its timeless and flattering quality. Look at Station the Stationeer David Bowie sporting them, case closed, surely. Whilst the frame's military roots are an indelible part of its story and charm, the Aviator isn't about machismo. It's a perfect example of how form-following function can create an aesthetic triumph. A versatile, wearable and elegant piece that's just as at home worn with workwear or military vintage as it is with the finest bespoke suit. Other shapes have come and gone, but the Aviator and Navigator have proven that something intelligently developed and beautifully constructed can endure for generations. We are going to end this video right away. If you have any query or information to share, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.